accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes.
What's up everyone? In this video we're going to be taking a look at the very rare limited edition Mediabook box set for the Final Destination movies. So let's get into it. Alright, so here we have the Final Destination 5-film limited edition Mediabook collection. This is from Nameless Media. So it comes with this J card right here, and I'm going to take this off and flip the set around so we can get a better look at it. One thing I'd like to point out about this J card is that it does have the specifications for all 5 films that are included in the set, featured on the bottom. And let's a quick look at the back of it and the top, which is just the artwork that's featured right there. The artwork on the box itself is not embossed, but it does have somewhat of a reflective quality to some of the shards and shrapnel that is featured on it. And then the logo that's right there on the spine is reflective as well, which looks really, really sick. So it's pretty much the same artwork all the way around. And then when you flip it over this way, you have the artwork on the spine for each individual media book. But overall, it's a pretty cool image. I do like that. So let's get into the individual media books. So now that I have all of them out, you can see here's part 5, part 4, 3, 2, and 1. The only part that's reflective on this one is the lightning strike that's right there, dead center. This one is definitely my favorite movie in the set. Then on the back, we have a signature. This is from Devon Sawa, which is the perfect spot. There's some other parts in it that look really good, but he wrote my favorite line in the movie, "You should be fucking dead." One thing I want to mention about part 1, the original DVD, which I still own, has a little mini game on the special features called Death Clock, where you can sort of predict when you're going to die. Thought that was a pretty cool idea, and just a fun little mini game. Not quite as innovative as the choose your fate option for character death scenes and stuff like that for part 3, but still pretty cool. This one is still hands down my favorite. Some of the other ones are really fun and have some cool moments, but this one just tops them all. Of course, this one was supposed to be an X-Files episode. Part of me wants to be biased and say that I wish it was an X-Files episode, but it's better as the film. That's another really nice image. You see the skull used quite a bit to represent death throughout a lot of the artwork and all the media books and other promotional material for the movies. Inside of these media books, there usually is a lot of other artwork. For this one, there's not too much, I've noticed, along with other things like the electricity from the wire that Alex gets caught up with at the end of the movie, as well as the knife stabs the teacher. And of course, on the next page, we have another skull. I really like the cast in this movie. Some of my favorite characters in the franchise in this one. Overall, I just think they had the best chemistry out of any of the casts in the movies. There's William Bloodworth, who's played by the infamous and amazing Tony Todd. A few character names and some more artwork that's on the cover, and then you get a look at the poster for Final Destination 2. And then part 2, I have to say, does feature some really cool artwork. I really, really like that. That looks fantastic. The reflection of all the lightning and stuff really, really stands out. Here's a look at the back of the media book for part 2. And I gotta say, this one is really a lot of fun, more so than all the others. And you can kind of tell that once you get to the end scene where they're having the barbecue and the kid gets his arm blown off and the music plays, you get that real sense of like, okay, yeah, we were just trying to have fun with everybody that watched this film. While the first movie does try to have a genuine sense of suspense, scares, and thrills, and a specific tone that's a lot darker, I think, than this one. This one is very playful, but I do enjoy it. I have a lot of fun with this one, and I would say it's my second favorite sequel out of all the movies. There's both discs. While the first film is my favorite, I must admit that the car pile-up opening sequence of this second movie is the best, hands down, out of all the movies. Just well-paced, well-edited, very well done, and very convincing. I also enjoy the characters in this film quite a bit as well. I wish we did have Devon Sawa's character still alive in this one, but unfortunately he is killed off screen in between films, which I am not a big fan of. And there's the two leads of the movie. One upside is that they do at least bring back Ali Larter, and her role is Claire from the first film. And I like all of Tony Todd's cameos in these movies. He's sort of like the spokesman for death in a way. And lastly, on this page, we have the artwork and some more lightning. So that's it for the second media book. And for part 3, a somewhat reflective roller coaster rail on the front is quite nice. Pops. I can appreciate that for this one, they did try to bring back the directors of the first film. So Glenn Morgan and James Wan come back for this one. They just didn't quite capture what the first film brought to the franchise. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was the cast, maybe it was the story, the whole setting with the premonition. Now, going into each sequel, they probably feel the need to top themselves with the opening premonition, and the roller coaster thing, while a good idea, it doesn't look as good as the car pileup did in the second movie. It doesn't have the same tension. Maybe it's the editing. Definitely a lot less practical effects. Yeah, something about it just doesn't work as well. And a quick look at both discs. Now, while I do like the characters in this film, they do feel at times somewhat generic. Not all of them, but some of them here and there do feel generic. And at this point, they kind of are just cannon fodder. This is definitely one of the more memorable scenes in the movie. Features on the DVD and Blu-ray were pretty interesting, being able to choose the fate of certain characters, whether they live or die, stuff like that. And just having the ability to control that, I've always thought was a really cool and fun idea. I don't think they continued the choose your fate option that they did with this third film on any of the other sequels. That's not a shot that I remember, at least when it comes to the electricity portion at the top here. I do remember the tanning bed thing, but I don't remember that. Maybe that's just artwork for the book. And that's one of the better but more simple deaths in the movie, the nail gun scene. Coming on to the last page, we have the ad for part 4. So let's move on to that. And here we have part 4. Now, when this one was coming out, the whole 3D gimmick was kind of an interesting selling point for this one. Witness death in 3D, and all the advertisements were really pushing that. While the technology and the ideas were there, they just didn't utilize it very well. A lot of what they did in this movie just felt very generic and mediocre, especially given what had come before. And just the possibilities of what could have been for this film just seems like a very big wasted and missed opportunity. Anyway, here's the discs for part 4. That is some very nice artwork. Overall, this one is just completely generic. It was almost like the idea of it being in 3D and the fact that it was a proven franchise that had worked and made money was all they relied on, and not really anything special or thrilling or different for the 3D gimmick to make this movie stand out. Yeah, okay, so that's the end of part 4, and less said about this film, the better, I think. Now for part 5, this one does feature the return of Tony Todd. It is also filmed in 3D. And I will say that some of the 3D gimmicks in this one worked quite a bit better. The bridge collapse sequence is okay, much better than the race car sequence in part 4. Here's a look at the discs. The characters in this one, once again, I didn't care that much about them, but I was at least intrigued enough by the idea that you could sort of defeat death by giving it another life and reclaiming yours and gaining someone else's time. Interesting idea, but I don't know that it was fleshed out well enough throughout the film. It's a cool idea that should have been introduced a lot earlier on in the movie. I think it would have made the tension and the anticipation for what was going to happen throughout the film much more interesting, instead of just waiting on characters to die like we have done for every Final Destination movie up until this point. I was flipping through this one really quickly, but it's the only one out of all the media books that actually has a really nice centerpiece in the book that has some information about Tony Todd's character. as William Bloodworth. He's a great addition to these movies, even though he's only in them for brief amounts of time. Still a standout role and a standout actor for sure. I wish he did have bigger roles in these movies, but I'll take what I can get when it comes to Tony Todd. So that was a look at all 5 Final Destination movies in this Mediabook set. It is a very nice set in terms of artwork and presentation. And of course, this set did come out before Part 6 was made, or even thought of for that matter. I don't think I'll be doing a video on Part 6 at all. There's so many other videos that have covered that movie and reviewed it and releases. There's enough of that out there. But this set in particular is a bit more of a rarity. I don't really see many people posting about it, so I just thought I'd share it. So yeah, that was the Final Destination 5-film limited edition Mediabook set from Nameless Media. Alright, I hope all of you enjoyed that look at the Final Destination limited edition box set. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the edition and in this video. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, as well as following me on Instagram, where I do post content that I don't post here on my YouTube channel. With all that said, I will see all of you in the next one. Thanks for watching.